Good evening, Gary.
Good evening, CC, and welcome all to our weekly podcast. Terry Curran, Curran View of the Isle of Hillsborough, Mr. Terry Curran. Steady away, son. How are you?
Steady away, like you just said.
Yeah, you've had a good week?
Not bad at all.
Good. It's raining here in Birmingham. It's been pretty
we've had
decent.
it raining all day. It's pissed it down all day.
Yeah, I think the bank holiday is going to be okay. And it is the last one this season, TC, of the Curran View. Episode number 193. And pretty much the football season has finished now. The Premier League finished last weekend. Previously, the Championship League 1 and League 2 finished. And we've just got the playoffs and the FA Cup final. But what have you sourced for us in the Magic Moments, T?
I've looked no further than Phil Foden's first goal.
Yeah, great goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, unbelievable. What a season, what a player. Let's hope he has the same outstanding performances for England.
Absolutely. However, he's not playing in the same team for England.
And he's not playing with the same manager.
And he won't be playing in the same position. So that fundamentally is going to make a huge difference. But
well, I don't think anywhere for what position he plays is that good.
Yeah,
you're going to get a great performance out of him.
Absolutely, hopefully. I mean, we have got some tremendous players. Gareth's picked his 30. Did he pick 33? It was around that figure, and he's got to trim it down to 26 by the beginning of June. When we leave to play in Germany. Be interesting to see who he leaves out. We will touch upon Gareth's squad a little bit later in the podcast. But my magic moments, Kudas's goal in that same game against Manchester City. I thought that was just a stroke of genius.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
I mean, he just flicks it up and then smashes it down,
Yeah.
I do.
I mean, we've seen some magnificent goals, Gabby, all season, haven't we?
I think it's been a fantastic football season. You know, I mean, every week we say, what are your magic moments? And every week we say the same thing. It's so difficult to pick. You usually pick a magic moment, and I end up picking maybe 3 or 4. And we do post those magic moments onto the Curran View group as well. Mine this week, as I say, were Kudas's goal. I thought it was fantastic. Moises Caicedo's goal for Chelsea. Against Bournemouth, great vision, seeing the goalie off his line and hitting it in from pretty much the halfway line. And a player that I love to watch, I think he's the most gracious player in the Premier League, again, in my opinion, is Eberechi Eze from Crystal Palace. I think he makes the game look so easy. I think they're a tremendous side. I think if he
can... It just shows you what a different a manager can get out.
Yeah, Glasner.
You know, even these better players, they're giving out better performance with the better players he's got besides.
Playing with confidence, playing with a manager who believes in them, and
playing football.
Absolutely. And you've nailed it there too. Playing free-flowing football on the front foot. When we get the ball, let's attack them. When we ain't got the ball, we got to get the ball back. The quicker we get the ball back, the quicker that we can attack them. And he's got a tremendous philosophy, the polar opposite from Roy Hodgson. Again, a manager. He's had many years in management, and good luck to him. I think he's a nice enough old bloke. But as a manager, never rated him, never enjoyed watching any of his teams play. That included England. And I think that when you have a manager who makes all the difference, like Glasner, just proves what you can do with some quality players. And if you can add 2 or 3, I think Palace are in for maybe a top 8 finish next season.
Yeah, but listen, they look a different team altogether.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
You know, I mean, you look at football, and nothing surprises me anymore. Where they found him from, you know, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then you see the opposite direction where Chelsea, they've had a shocking start to the season, had a great run in, and then they sacked the manager. So
it's crazy, isn't it?
Crazy. It's unbelievable, Jeff, as you would say.
I mean, the thing is, though, with Chelsea, I mean, we both know that mutual agreement means absolute nothing. The fact that they've stated that it's by mutual consent, I don't buy into that at all. I believe that he's had a row with the two people, maybe that are recruiting the players. They've had a row over what players he wants recruiting, and I think that it seems to be at Chelsea, all they want is a coach to coach the first team, and we'll bring the players in for you. And I think Pochettino's told him to stick it up his jacksie, as your old manager would have said.
Unbelievable. You're right. It's just everything about football.
Mm.
No surprises you anymore, does it?
No, I mean, they call them coaches as well, and then sometimes they'll get an upgrade to be a manager. I mean, that says it all. All they want
Well,
you
they
to do
call
is
them
coach.
coaches. Half of them don't even coach. They have a coach.
Yeah. But again, when you look at some of the great managers that we've had in football, they haven't done an awful lot on the training pitch.
No.
They've had coaches that do the coaching and they
But it
do the
ain't about
managing.
coaching. It's about getting the right balance to the team and having the right players.
Absolutely. And motivating them.
Yeah.
You know, and this is the thing that some managers can do it, some can't. And then, you get your coaches that are working with the players day to day and, putting on different sessions that the players buy into. And going back to Palace, it just looks as though I don't know what his management team is, whether Glasner gets involved day to day with the players on the training pitch, or he's got trainers that do that for him. I don't know, but my word, what a tune! And let's be honest as well. Eze and Elise have missed a lot of this season. So, had he have had the whole season and those players, and Gay as well has been injured for
Yeah,
most of the
you've
season,
got to
Wharton have only just bought him.
add that manager if he'd have been there at the beginning of the season.
Absolutely,
You've
100%.
got to add that
Yeah.
because if Cece had been fit all season, it might not have been, still might not have gone their way.
No. I mean, again, we don't know because that's something, it's hypothetical and we can't answer it. But you'd like to see what he would do with that squad, one or two more players, and if you're Eze and Elise, and maybe one or two Gay, there's talk about him, and I suppose the unfortunate thing for Palace is if they all go, Elise's not going, but if those two go and Wharton goes and has good tournaments, I mean, all and sundry are going to be after their signatures. But I do think it would be nice just to see for a season, because there's no guarantee if you leave that team and you go and sign for another team that it's going to be the same. I'd just like to see Palace given 12 months, well, a season with them players and just see where they can end up, because they were the form team in the back end of this season. A joy to watch, free flowing, scoring goals left, right, and centre.
I agree
Literally
100% with you.
brilliant, brilliant.
Brilliant.
If Palace
I've had
are
him
on,
on my coupons a few times towards the end of the season. They've done really well for me and
yeah,
also.
if Palace are on, I'm watching Palace. Other teams in the Premier League, if they're on, I'll probably watch Coronation Street. You know what I mean? but
Oh, I don't know about that.
Now, I probably won't go that far, T, but I like to be entertained. And in terms of Eze, absolutely chuffed for the kid to be called up. He's a player that, if you remember, he did have a bad injury. And before that injury, we were on the Curran View podcast talking him talking him up to go to the last World Cup. Because we've been fans of Eze for some time.
But
Atlanta
you
just
know as
opened
well
the
as
league.
I do, you've had the English managers,
Yeah, absolutely.
and majority of them don't really fancy him.
No.
Right? And
Where'd you play him, they'll
repeating the
say?
thing with Zidane,
Yeah.
there was a lot of people,
Mm,
coaches with Zidane,
yeah.
and not one of them wanted to take him.
I know.
Blackburn Rovers of all cases, undoubtedly.
At Newcastle United?
Yeah, with Sid, not Barry Siddle. What am I thinking of?
Silky?
What the kid? What they call him? Bloody
Silk? Barry
Silky,
Silky?
yeah.
Silky?
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, he told Kevin
With
Keegan.
Blackburn, get it down, leash.
You just look at him and you just think it's quite incredible, really. But again, some people in football look at players in a different way. They watch them.
Atalanta beating them at
Yeah,
Leverkusen.
just
It's
scored, didn't
unbelievable.
they? I mean, 51 games unbeaten.
Yeah.
Let's see if they can get to 52. And then they got the German Cup final
Well,
coming up soon.
I've got two football things already up, and I'm waiting for them Leverkusen. Unbelievable, Jeff.
Have you got them on the coupon? Who you had then? What else have you got up on the coupon?
My coupons in what they call it, in drawing there.
Oh, okay.
I had two on Saturday.
Oh, right, okay.
Um,
And this is a hangover from the Saturday games, the
yeah,
Sunday games.
I'll tell you who they are before I finish.
Yeah, but again, I mean, easy. What happens in this country, generally speaking, and Gareth, he'll have him in the England squad, and he'll I don't know where to play him, and this is the problem with certain
Well, sometimes
managers. I
like
don't know
you
where
know
to
as well
play.
as I do.
I know where
You'll
to
take
play
them just
on
to
the
shut
pitch.
the press up.
Sorry,
It'll take them just to shut the press up.
maybe, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, he's had players in the past that he's took to England camps and games. I mean, this is just a training camp, but Gareth Southgate's called players up before, and they've not made the team sheet. And you think,
Yeah.
why has he done that? I mean, he done that once.
When does he narrow it down?
I,
Narrow it down.
I think we play Iceland on the 7th, is it? And then after that, he has to name. We've got a couple of games coming up, friendly games. And then after that, the last one, he has to whittle it down to 26, which will be interesting.
I think we have to mention. You know, all these managers keep saying about playing too many games. End of season goes. Tottenham and Newcastle go to Australia to play games.
It went to extra time and penalties,
Do
didn't
me a favour.
it? It
You
went
must
to
think
extra
that we're
time
all.
and penalties.
There's that many people get brainwashed with lies with this media and everybody else. It's untrue.
I mean, the only thing that I will say in terms of that, and I posted it up on the Curran View, when these managers, and to be fair to them these days, they have no choice. It's the owners that want the money and the brand of the football club. Send them around the world, and the players play the games. But when the managers, this has always been my bugbear. We don't play any more games in this country domestically. You, as a Premier League and elite player and manager, have less games to manage and play in this country in domestic football. That's your league, your FA Cup, and the League Cup. That is fact. I
Yeah.
never hear any of them talk about the real problem that there's too many games is because there are too many games in Europe where it used to be a cup and now it's a league, and that's where the problem is. Not in this country, abroad. That's where the problem is. They'll go and play these games. They'll tell us that they're having a green weekend in the Premier League, having a green weekend. Eat vegan burgers, cycle to the game, or walk. And then as soon as the season finishes, where do they fire up the jets and they're off to Australia? Great for your carbon footprint, that. And
No, it's
it's
a joke.
just, it is.
Complete joke, isn't
It
it?
is, yeah. It's just the hypocrisy of it all. So if you're going to moan you're playing too many games, I haven't got a problem about that. You moan you're playing too many games, but don't go straight away after the season finish halfway around the world and moan about how many games that you're playing in Europe. Don't moan that you're playing on a Sunday, when you don't like those fixtures, or you're playing at 12:30 on a Saturday. It's what you've done the previous week. You're playing in Europe. That's why you're playing at that time. That's why you're moaning about it. I mean, he was the biggest gobshite of the lot, and I do like him, Klopp, but he was never, ever shutting up
What
about
would they
playing
do?
too
What
many
would they do if
games.
they weren't in those semi-finals, FA Cup and League Cups and
Moaning?
UEFA Cups and uh, Champions League? What would
Probably
they be doing then?
they'd be probably putting the
They'd be
kettle on at
getting
home because
sacked.
they'd be
So
absolutely they'd be getting the sack. That's what they'd be doing. So you are a victim of your own success.
I tell you, it makes me laugh. They keep going on about Klopp because he's only Premier League. No, he's not in the same league as Bob Paisley or Bill Shankly.
Sorry, T, he was what?
Klopp. They keep going on about Klopp being
Yeah.
the best manager Liverpool's had. He's not in the same league as Shankly and Bob Paisley.
No, not at all. No, and I think that these days, okay, yes, there's Manchester City, and as Cloughie always used to say, there's only one club that can win the league. And you've got the cups, and Manchester City really have had a monopoly. Well, they've monopolised uh, certainly English football, and they've done pretty well in the Champions League as well. But you've only had Manchester City. I think back in your day when you were playing, it was more difficult to win a league. You got smaller squads. You'd got pitches that certainly are not comparable to the pitches today. You got kicked from pillar to post, and I think every team was stronger back in
Yeah.
those days. You'd have a number of teams that could win the old First Division. I mean, you look at that 70s. I mean, Liverpool won more championships in the 70s than any other team, but I think we had about maybe 5 or 6 different winners of the league in the 70s.
I
And
know
we had
it's
some
just
great teams
unreal.
and great players, yeah. Maybe 10 teams could have won the league, in them days. There's only 2 really that could win the league in these days. So, when people say it's more difficult now, no, I don't buy that. It was more competitive back in our day. Man City wouldn't have dominated as much as what they have done in this modern era,
It's only
I don't think.
difficult. It's only difficult today to
Uh,
wear the media and the pundits,
yeah, well, they're all,
right?
they're all controlled.
I mean, they complain about women being on television. And listen, I'm not into any of it neither myself. Don't
Yeah,
get me wrong, but they've only been successful at the game itself. They've never been successful as managers.
no, no.
So it baffles me how they can criticize everybody else yet fail at it as managers.
The one manager that they have on occasionally, or have had on occasionally, is your old pal Martin O'Neill, and
Well, that's what they
Martin,
should have on ex-managers.
exact. But Martin will never question a manager because Martin's been there. He
Yeah,
knows what it takes. He knows what's going on. He knows all the periphery stuff. And, all that you see isn't really all that he has to manage. In fact, I've not read his book. I got it on audio book, which I found very useful. In fact, I posted it up. I'm not sure whether you could access it because it was on my Spotify account.
I think you got to have Spotify, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I've got access to a number of audiobooks through my Spotify account. Martin O'Neill, on days like these, My Life in Football was one of them. He gives you a great mention, and he did talk about Forest. 'Cause he talks about the whole of his career. I mean, it starts off brilliantly when he's a 4-year-old. He jumps out the window to give his sister a hug. I mean, he's a right character.
Yeah.
Because Martin talks on the
Well, it were
audio
funny.
book
It
as
were
well.
funny. It were dry when he was a player.
But he writes the book in the same manner.
Yes.
There's humour in the book. There's a lot of musical references in the book, and you listen. As I was listening to Martin reading his book too, not just to me, but via all the different apps that you can access it. You're listening to Martin and you're chuckling with him because some of the things he comes out with. I mean, it's so funny, so dry, so sarcastic at times, and really a thoroughly brilliant book of a brilliant, brilliant football man. And as I say, he did talk about that situation against Burnley that really impacted Nottingham Forest. He said when Terry Curran got injured, Terry was flying, and he also said that it was John Robertson in those days that was doing the graveyard shift because all the ball was going down to Terry Curran. Terry Curran really was the man at Nottingham Forest in those days.
Yeah, but Stevie Kingdon did wrote up in my book,
Mm,
and Stevie. But a lot of the players used to tell me,
mm,
the managers were petrified of playing against you,
mm.
petrified before you got injured. And even when I went and to play for Sheffield Wednesday and that,
Yeah,
I know a lot of players then would say to me, that's all we heard from managers say. You cannot let him get on the ball. You've
mm,
either got to stop him or bring him down, foul him. You know what
yeah.
I mean? So I've always said this. I would have loved to have not got the injury and see what would have happened to me at Forest and everyone, I may never have gone on and played for anybody else.
I think that may be correct. I mean, Martin was there for 10 years at Forest and moved on. We put him in the Legends Lounge. We're going to talk about his career a little bit later. But, I mean, you could have stayed at Nottingham Forest when you got that move from Doncaster for 10 years and
You, you,
and won all those honours that Martin did as well.
you could ask any player
Mm.
at Nottingham Forest, and they had some big players.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, I never got a rollicking, never got a bollocking from Cloughie. And when I was there, when Martin Robert, I was his pet.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've been a pet. When I was at school.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, lots of managers like me. Don't get me wrong. But I was his pet at Forest. Unbelievable how he used to praise me all the time. And sometimes it was embarrassing for me.
Yeah. But Martin O'Neill, on days like this, my life in football, an absolutely brilliant read from a fantastic man of football. We are in book corner now, TC. And also, I want to give a mention. We always have a trio of books, but I've just thrown an extra one in this week for good measure. What's It All About? The Alfie Conn story by Jeff Holmes. That book's out on the 19th of August.
I liked him. I thought he was a good player, Alfie Conn.
He was a character as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, Tottenham. Tottenham, but he was obviously Scottish.
Come down from Rangers, didn't he?
Yeah.
And played for Tottenham. But, I mean, again, I was a kid. I think he's transferred in 74, if memory serves me right. I've done a little bit of research, not an awful lot. I do want to do a podcast with Jeff, and hopefully if I can get hold of Alfie and do one with him. But, I mean, visually, he looked a bit like you, didn't he, Alfie Conn?
He got more fair hair.
Yeah.
Same type of hairstyle, same type of player, really, in one sense.
He was, yeah, because...
I'll see if I can get your number. I'll see if I can get his number for you, Gabby.
Oh, okay. Because again, Alfie was a showman. He was like you. I would imagine his manager or managers having a little bit of a pop at times because, I mean, if memory serves me right, didn't he get a bit stick the one day when he sat on a ball? I mean, he would do stuff like that. I mean, you go round the goalkeeper, get your hands and knees and nod the ball into the back of the net. These are things that young kids...
I got a bollocking when he even went to the toilet, me, from Jack.
But these are the things 2-0 to Atlanta now. The same fella scored
You're joking.
Again. No, 2-0. I mean,
unbelievable.
You can't believe it, can you? 51 games, and they're 2-0 down after 25 minutes.
I'd sack him if I was owner of that Leverkusen.
Mind you, what I will say is that Leverkusen have been behind in a few games and have come back. So the game isn't over.
Gabby,
it's early.
So they'll not be coming back tonight.
I mean, to be fair to you, if you're going to go 2 goals down, you're best going down by 2 goals after 25 minutes and 85 minutes, ain't you? At least they have got a lot of the game to pull those
I'm sure
goals back.
Said they've got some of the 1 or 2 of the players out.
I'm not sure.
But it has been an out season, I suppose, hasn't it?
Absolutely fantastic.
And they've gone all season without getting beaten till half.
Yeah. You're a Jonah. But going back to Alfie Conn.
Now, you mean I'm a Jonah? What, Jonah Witness?
but you say, going back to Alfie Conn, a great character. Don't think he got as many Scotland caps as he should have. But I think that'll be a tremendous book. I have made contact with Jeff, and I say I'm trying to get a podcast with both Jeff and Alfie. And when we start back up again in August, because we are going to have a bit of a break, we may be doing stuff during the Euros. I'm looking forward to the Euros, TC. But Alfie Conn's book will be book of the month for August. Thirdly, Under the Floodlights, 60 Years of the Football League Cup by Rob Carlos. I've given it a few now. I'm not sure, did you get contacted to talk about that book, about the League Cup finals?
I may have done, Gabby, I'm not sure.
But I know that I'd certainly given him and had a chat with you, Steve Perryman, Uddy.
Yeah, I think I may have.
I think Kenny Hibbett as well. There was Don Rogers definitely. He's in there because I've seen a picture. He went and met Don at his sports shop in Swindon. So that looks to be a fantastic.
Has he still got
book.
a sports shop in Swindon then?
Yeah, still got it. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant!
Been working in that shop since I think he said about 1967. I mean, while he were a player, he got that sports shop.
Yeah, Ted McDougall had the sports shops.
Oh, okay. Because I thought that Don, when he'd finished playing football, because lots of footballers go into buying pubs or insurance or whatever, and I thought after his career finished, he went and bought a sports shop. But no, he had a sports shop during his career. So he's in that. He's definitely in that book, Under the Floodlights, 60 Years of the Football League Cup by Rob Carlos. And I think it was a book that needed to be written. There's many books about the FA Cup, but not any book about the League Cup. So this will be a great read by Rob Carlos. And Jimmy Armfield, the authorised biography by Rob Cayley, that caught my eye as well. Jimmy Armfield, another great football man, wasn't he, Jimmy?
Yeah, brilliant.
Did you ever come across Jimmy Armfield?
Oh, a few times. Yeah, but I told you I met his son.
Okay.
I went to do an after dinner speak up near Blackpool.
Yeah.
And I met his son and all. So yeah, I met Jimmy a few times.
Yeah,
lovely bloke, well, a great player and all.
And must have some balls because he took over Leeds United after Cloughie of 44 days, who'd superseded Don Revie of many years, who probably put together, again, it's all opinions in football, the great Leeds United team. And I think that if the Leeds United team played against that Manchester City team, I think it would be a great spectacle. And I think that Leeds United team are the best team that I've ever seen play football.
They're as good as a team as I've ever seen. Well, they're the best footballing team in this country when you go back on it up till this Manchester City team.
I think that they're a better watch as well for me than Man. I mean, I like to watch Man City, I do. I've been a bit disappointed this season that Jack hasn't played as much, but I think he has carried one or two knocks and niggles. But I do like to see Grealish play. I think Phil Foden has been outstanding. De Bruyne's been off a little bit with injuries. But, I mean, they are a great team. They're a great squad. But that Leeds United team didn't have the depth in squad, and they had to play all of those games. When these modern day players are going on about playing too many games, you look how many games the great Leeds United team played in the 60s and the early 70s, because they would have played at least as many as Manchester City with maybe 14, 15 players, not 25. Fundamentally, that's a massive difference.
It's massive difference. Massive difference.
And I think that because of the rotation and because of all that the modern player has, I do think it's easier to get further in competitions because you can rotate. And if you are Man City, you're just putting one brilliant player in to replace another brilliant player. And in the case of Leeds, they were brilliant players, but if John Giles went off and you put the sub on, that player ain't as good as John Giles. If you put Jack Grealish on instead of Doku, then it doesn't weaken the side at all.
No, exactly. Whoever City bring in does not weaken the team at all.
No, they're the team on the planet for me who have the best squad of players, and as they could win the double this season, which will be the first time ever. FA Cup tea on Wednesday. It's Wednesday today. On Saturday, you wait for a bit like a taxi, innit? You wait for an all Manchester FA Cup final, and then two come at once, back to back seasons, don't they?
Unbelievable, Jeff. Isn't it?
It is crazy. How do you see this one going?
I think it'd be one-way traffic.
Yeah.
Don't you?
I do. I think, again, goals change games. The only thing that I will say with Man United is that, if they score first, it could be game on. I mean, if City
the thing
score...
is, at Man City, they could be 2-0 down. They're that good.
But this is what I'm
I
going to
cannot
say.
put Manchester United in this game whatsoever.
No,
I really can't.
I can't. And I think that the game that pretty much summed up Manchester United this season was the semi-final game against Coventry. What were they? 3 goals up, coasting, and then, okay, they didn't get beat, but it was very, very close and literally come down to the last kick of a ball on a penalty shootout that got them to, well, they were already at Wembley, of course, because semi-finals are at Wembley. Not like in your day when you played a semi-final at Highbury. What's your preference, playing the semi-final away from Wembley, or would you have preferred as a player to have played that semi-final at Wembley?
No, I think the final should be for the final should be the only time they play at Wembley, not the semi-finals.
Yeah, same here. And how exciting was it too when you got to turn up at Highbury and you'd see, your fans and the opposing fans. It was a 50-50 split, wasn't it?
You're in a semi-final of an FA Cup, which you dream about, going to Wembley. Everton's a massive football club. So when you're driving your coach and you're going up towards the ground, and you can say for 4, 5, 6, 10 miles away from the ground, and there's thousands of Everton fans. It gives you goosebumps on back of your neck. It's a fantastic feeling. I wish everybody could taste it, because you'd have to taste it to realise how exciting it is.
Yeah. And what was that feeling like? I mean, you both you and Alan have got same thing in common. You both missed the FA Cup final. I mean, you playing there at Everton, that was the only time that a club of yours reached the FA Cup final. And in Alan, it was the only time that a team of his had reached the FA Cup final. And in both of you both missed out through injury on that day.
No disrespect to Howard, I mean, Howard shouldn't have played me.
Yeah.
2 of those games after that game. After that, I should have had a rest, because they cramped in a lot of games for me to play in that semi-final.
Yeah.
And then I pulled my hamstring, so I missed out on it. But when I look at it, I missed out on the FA Cup.
Yeah.
I missed out on a Cup Winners' Cup. I got a bad injury at Forest, like I got a bad injury at Everton. And they go and win the league title, go and win 2 Champions Leagues, League Cups. So, it's. I still don't look back and feel disappointed in it. I just that's the only regret I have, is I wouldn't have got the injury at either club, whatever way it was, but preferably at Forest.
And then so when Everton got to the final in '84, where was you? Was you part of the team there? You were injured, but were you there on FA Cup final day, or did
No,
Howard
I didn't
say
go
don't?
down. I could have gone down.
Yeah. That was your choice.
I could have gone down.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but what? I was having some treatment, you see, with my hamstring.
Yeah, got ya. Yeah.
Right. They went down on the Wednesday.
Yes.
Was it Wednesday? Well, they went down. I can't remember now.
Usually stay for a few days, don't you, and prepare for the final.
Yeah, they usually do. Yeah. Maybe Thursday. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I got a flat in Southport, so that's where I was. But on the Sunday, Adrian Heath came up to me. Me and him went out Sunday night.
Yeah, got ya.
I think we may have met up with Brace. I'm not. I can't guarantee that, but I remember me and Inchi going out that Sunday night.
I bet Inchi was well pleased, wasn't he?
Oh, he were over at moon.
Yeah.
Well, they all were. It's a fantastic achievement, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And again, back in those days, the most iconic game that you're going to play in the FA Cup final. It was the only game that was televised. Like, okay, TV had just started to come in the kind of mid-80s, hadn't it? But, it was every boy's dream to play at Wembley in the FA Cup final. And to win it must have just been on cloud nine.
I would say the FA Cup was as big as the league title.
I would say that the FA Cup was
players I'm talking about.
Yeah, the most
maybe
important.
Not among managers, but among players.
It was the most important game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it was the cup final, beamed all around the world. I mean, there you are. I mean, it's the most special day in the football calendar. Sadly, it isn't now. And this Saturday, we won't be getting up at 9 o'clock and watching all the build-up, watching the players on the coach.
Listen, near mind, the build-up used to be for a week.
Yeah, it was brilliant. But on the telly on FA Cup final day, it was special, wasn't it? I remember as a kid.
Because, the cameras on the bus, cameras at the ground, cameras up and down the bloody country among fans. It was absolutely fantastic.
And they'd have like FA Cup final, it's a knockout and stuff, and
everything, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose back in those days, your dad would go down the pub. I mean, Friday night, the old man would always be out in the pub. He'd have fish and chips with my mum and my brother and my sister. But cup final day, it was the one day I remember. You get the bumper cans of beer. You'd have a taste of lager. You'd have half a lager as a nipper, and your uncles or whatever would come round, and it was a massive. It was an occasion, and I suppose in our day as well, in the early 70s, colour television had only just come out, so that made it even more special. But I mean, these days, it just isn't. It isn't, sadly, what it was. But Manchester City versus Man United, yeah, I can only see one winner. And I think even if United do take an early lead, I can see City coming back and winning that. Too, we had a terrible story last week of that awful situation of Turbulence where a British fella lost his life. I believe he had a heart attack on a plane.
The plane had dropped 6,000 feet, didn't it? Something.
Yeah, it hit some pocket of turbulence, which was terrible. But you'd been on a couple of journeys that you were telling me with Nottingham Forest that were a bit airy scary, wasn't they?
Oh, the first one was we hit turbulence and we had to do emergency landing in Frankfurt. And I tell you, it was frightening. And on top of that, when you got off at plane, it was like as though you were absolutely paralytic. You were falling all over the place. That's what it felt like. And then we had somebody who lost his life when I was at Everton. We were flying from Switzerland to Greece and we got struck by lightning, hit the plane, and somebody had an heart attack on it. So, it's a beautiful way of traveling, but it can be, I can assure you, it can be frightening if you ever get into turbulence and get struck by lightning like we did.
Where were you playing then? When you was you playing?
Forest, when we had the turbulence one, and
Everton. Who was you playing against? Forest.
When we were in Switzerland on a pre-season tour, and we was flying out to Greece.
Got you. But that Forest game, when were you playing a German team? Was it pre-season or end of season, or was it competitive game?
I think we were going to Germany. Well, obviously, I think we were going to Germany. I think it was a pre-season.
Yeah.
We were flying to Germany, but we had to make an emergency landing at Frankfurt.
Did you have many tours at the end of a season? I mean, I'd done a podcast with Alan.
Forest did. Yeah, we always went away at end of season. End of season.
I mean, it was a glorified piss up, wasn't it? Really. I mean, we'd done that with Al about his tours, etc. on My Life, My Music. Our latest one's out on all of the networks, however you access your podcast. All the pictures on the wall where Alan talks about all the pictures that he's got up on the wall and the songs that evoke the memories. But he told me of many tours at the end of the season that Chelsea went on, completely different to what they do now. They have like mini tournaments, don't they, about halfway through the close season. But in them days, it was...
Yeah, we used to go away for a midsummer break, a midwinter break.
When was that?
When I was at football club.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Sheffield Wednesday had them.
Bit of warm weather training.
Southampton, we had it.
Yeah.
I remember going to Marbella with Southampton, coming back. Right, and beat him. We'll come back on the Thursday night, Friday night in Manchester and beat Manchester City.
Yeah. But you would never hear players or managers moaning about too many games and doing the travelling.
No.
And this is the fundamental difference today. I mean, when Alan, Stoke City in 1984, when they stayed up, which was the great escape, probably even more of a great escape than Sheffield Wednesday this season. I mean, he come back and really turned Stoke City's fortunes around. And Alan had sorted. It wasn't the manager or Stoke City. It was Alan that sorted out a tour in Florida. They played Tampa Bay Rowdies. Al sorted that game out for them. He said there was players, the Stoke players, when they dropped them off at the airport, they were crying. They didn't want to leave Tampa Bay. They had such a great time. But again, that was the piss up. It was a thank you for your season, and then the work starts then when you come back pre-season and you might go on tour. Germany was always a place because you'd always get a decent game out in Germany.
We seem to go. We did seem to go to Germany a lot. Everton went there.
Mm.
You know,
I'm sure Villa did.
No, Austria. I think we went with Everton.
Yeah, I'm sure Villa, when they won the league, I'm sure that pre-season they went to Germany, if memory serves me right as well. But again, a great country, and we're going to be going to Germany for the Euros. Not you and I, but England are. How do you see us faring in the Euros, T? And what do you reckon about the other competing nations? Because
Well, I think
it ain't going to be easy.
I think Germany's come good.
Yeah, I do.
You know, Bayern's got to the semi-final of the Champions League. Dortmund's got into the final of the Champions League. Leverkusen's got into the UEFA. I still call it the UEFA Cup.
Yeah.
You know, I fancy us. I just don't, and I don't want to get into thing with Gareth Southgate because I want us to win it.
Same here, yeah.
But I think the French will be a difficult team to beat and all.
I think there's going to be a number of teams. I think it's going to be a cracking Euro, and I think there's going to be some great players on show. I think there's going to be some real superstars, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if Germany didn't get to the final.
Yeah, you know, when they come to these finals, the mental attitude.
Yep.
They are top players, don't get me wrong, but the mental attitude always seems to be right for these, big occasions.
Yeah, it does. I mean, even when you look at German football in the last few years, I guess, certainly at international level, they haven't been really punching their weight, but they just seem to be coming good at the right time, and the tournament is in their backyard. So it would not surprise me if Germany didn't go all the way and maybe play France in the final. But it does promise to be a great. Is there any players that you're looking forward to watching during the Euros? I've got a wall chart here too. It's on my lap. She won't let me put it on the wall, so it's on my lap. I might put it on the wall here by a wardrobe, but I don't think it'd last more than 20 minutes.
Well, for me, Gab, I'm looking forward to, obviously, Mbappe and that, but I'm looking forward to Foden. I'm looking forward to some of our players, and Bellingham.
Yeah.
You see how well they do.
Yeah.
On the bigger stage now.
I mean, in Group C, we are in Gelsenkirchen, our first game. We kick off on Sunday, the 16th of June, against Serbia. And then on the 20th of June, the following Thursday, at 5 o'clock, we're in Frankfurt against Denmark. And then the Tuesday after, on the 25th, we play Slovenia. So we've got Denmark, Slovenia, and Serbia in our group. I can't see any banana skins, if I'm honest, from that group. I think we should qualify quite handsomely out that group. I never look at who we're going to play after because I think it's immaterial. Spain, Croatia, Italy, and Albania. The three of them, I think that's going to be decent. Scotland kick proceedings off against Germany on Friday the 14th. I think the Netherlands could be decent. France also. Belgium, there and thereabouts. Portugal, I think,
Both
a
Tom and
dark
Jock
horse.
think Portugal could be there or thereabouts.
I think Portugal could be a dark horse. I'm really looking forward to watching Rafael Leao play as well for Portugal. I think they've got some tremendous players, and I'm glad that Georgia are there because one of my favourite players, Cavascalia, will be on show as well. Could be a big move for him. Terrible season for Napoli. Might have to offload. Cavascalia may be coming to the Premier League. There was speculation last year, I remember you telling me, that Newcastle were after him, but it didn't materialise. But again, watch this space. Playoff finals, TC. One of your old clubs, Southampton versus Leeds United. Did you see the semi-finals that both of them played?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
I did.
What do you
I
think? And how
thought
do you see the game going?
Leeds had gone for a draw at Norwich.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
And then either way you can look at it, Norwich were poor, but Leeds were outstanding.
Yeah, they were, weren't they?
And I think Southampton in both semi-finals. But they beat Leeds twice this season, They're Dellen at Ellen Road. So it's going to be a tough one for Leeds.
How do you see it going? You know, what do you?
I think if Leeds turn up, if they both turn up, I think it can be a good game. I think Leeds will just nick it. Obviously, I want Southampton to win because it's one of my old teams.
I know that Leeds finished just above Southampton, but when you look at the two
Who
teams,
do you fancy?
I fancy Southampton.
Yeah.
I think that I like Russell Martin. I like Leeds. I think they're a great club.
Yeah.
But
they're a fantastic football club.
Great club.
Question of a
I
doubt.
mean, the support there at Ellen Road was phenomenal. And I watched Leeds and
great
I thought,
to play the atmosphere is great to play at.
I mean, Eddie Gray, he said it's the greatest atmosphere that he's ever witnessed at Leeds United. And Eddie is an absolute Leeds legend.
Yeah.
But I look at both the sides and I think consistently throughout the season, and they say, well, don't be stupid because Leeds finished above them. Yeah, I know that. I get that. But if I'm watching a game, Southampton have caught my eye more than Leeds consistently by the way that they play football. Yes, they've had a few dips, and yes, they do concede some goals. And to be fair, so do Leeds United. So I can see it maybe going to extra time. And I think Saints might just nick it, but it does promise to be a
good
fantastic.
final, doesn't it?
I think it's going to be fantastic. And whoever gets in the Premier League, good luck to them. I did say that in our Legends Lounge, we're going to put Martin Hugh Michael O'Neill, born on the 1st of March 1952. First club was Distillery in 1971. 7 games, 3 goals. Moved to Nottingham Forest 71 to 81. 285 games he played for Forest, scoring 48 goals. These are just league, not cup. Moved to Norwich in 1981, scoring a goal in 11 games. Then Norwich got relegated and he transferred to Manchester City. Didn't stay long at City, 13 games, and then moved to Norwich City in the season that they gained promotion. You must have played against Martin that last game, 15th of May 1982, which would have been your last game, and it was the game that ultimately Norwich got promoted.
Did Martin play in that game?
I'm sure he must have, yeah. He must have, because he come back. I remember I'd done a podcast with Keith Birchin, and Keith said it was Martin coming back in the January. I think it was the January of that season, because Norwich City weren't anywhere to be seen. Martin come back, and he said Martin O'Neill was
I'm sure
phenomenal.
I would have been speaking to Martin. I can't remember me playing against Martin at Norwich. I really can't.
I mean, without looking at who played that day, he was definitely there that season because Martin was instrumental in getting Norwich City promoted. The season after he left, he played 55 games, scoring 11 goals. 83, 84, he went to Notts County, 64 games, 5 goals. And that was pretty much his last professional club. played 64 times for Northern Ireland.
I don't think he
goals.
played in there. I really don't, because
You don't.
I would have spoke to him.
Maybe he missed that last game then, maybe. But he was definitely there that season that they gained promotion. And had it not been for Martin, I don't think. Well, according to Keith, and Keith played there and got promoted with him, they wouldn't have got promoted without Martin O'Neill's intervention.
Yeah.
Strange but true, TC. Stranraer were formed in 1870 and are the third oldest club in Scottish football, but did not win their first promotion until 1993-1994. Do you know what other two teams formed before Stranraer?
Queen's Park.
Correct. It's like question of sport, this is, isn't it?
Rangers.
No.
Go on.
Kilmarnock.
Kilmarnock?
Yeah, Killies. So Kilmarnock are the oldest Scottish football club that's still playing today. Killies. Then it's Stranraer, and then Dumbarton, and then Rangers.
And Celtic.
No, Celtic are really down. I was scrolling down to see where Celtic were, and I couldn't see them.
Big support when you think about it?
Yeah, from
Why
Glasgow.
they're both in Glasgow, aren't they?
From Glasgow, and I'm guessing they pulled quite a few from the Catholic side.
Yeah.
And I think probably that's why they were formed. I don't know much about the history of Celtic, but I'm kind of guessing. I mean, it's like Liverpool and Everton. Everton are the oldest team there in Liverpool, and it was Everton that used to play at Anfield and then moved out, and then Liverpool started playing there.
Well, Liverpool were in second division when Shankly joined them.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, Shanks, what was it, 1959, but he wanted it to be registered really as 1960, didn't he, as a start of a new decade and the swinging 60s. Birmingham City beat Liverpool 9-1 at St Andrews in 1954. I mean, Liverpool really...
It's incredible when you think of that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, Villa stuffed them 7-2 at Villa Park a few years ago. But, 9-1 Birmingham. And they were a second division team, as you say. Liverpool haven't always been, the top side that we look at and, one of the most decorated clubs in British football. But going back to Celtic and Rangers, I mean, it would be good if they could... All right, they're not going to come into the Premier League and play in the Premier League, but it'd be great if we could go back in the old FA Cup and have English, Irish, Scottish and Welsh clubs in there, and then maybe Rangers and Celtic could play against the likes of Manchester United.
It wouldn't have meant the FA Cup exciting again, wouldn't it, if they came into it, Celtic and Rangers?
Yeah, I think it needs something like that to ignite the FA Cup.
Well, yeah, I don't think it needs anything. It just needs the FA or the Premier League to sell it and not just discard it like that's what they've done.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And now, if they wanted to put it back on the map, that would be the thing what would put it back on the map. The Scottish teams coming in, Celtic and Rangers, especially them two.
I think again, we've not had many games between English clubs and Scottish clubs. I mean, we've had a few in Europe, haven't we? In the recent or not so recent past. But I think it would be a great game if they wanted. I don't know, say the Charity Shield game. Play the winners of like the Scottish Premier League against the Premier League champions.
Yeah, I'll get them in the FA Cup. Let's get it back to what it used to be.
Oh, without a doubt, I'd go to the FA Cup. But I think it'd be great as a curtain raiser for both of them. And also as well, what's nice, I mean, let's not forget, it is the Scottish FA Cup final. I think this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always usually the same weekend as the FA Cup, isn't it?
Well, it used to be the same day, didn't it? Because when it was half time, we used to go to Hampden Park and see the goal highlights of the first half.
Is it on the same day now, then?
I think it is back on the same day now. So I think we're going to have a little bit of that. And it's a Celtic versus Rangers final. First for many years. Again, quite incredible that they haven't met in the Scottish FA Cup final for several seasons. And what will be brilliant with this game at Hampden Park is that it's going to be
Celtic and Rangers.
Celtic playing Rangers. It's going to be
brilliant.
half Celtic fans, half Rangers fans. That's something that hasn't happened in Scottish football for a number of years. And when they see such a great spectacle, hopefully away fans will return back to the Scottish Old Firm derbies.
Am I hearing that over going off?
You certainly are hearing the over going off. TC, it's been a fantastic season. I've loved every moment, every podcast and episode of the Curran View. Can't thank you enough for your time and your friendship, etc. But what was the highlight of the Curran View and the season for you?
You winning this year's championship results, predicting results.
And I thought you was going to say,
because I'm not a sore loser.
I thought you was going to say Sheffield Wednesday staying up, because I mean that was a highlight for all the Wednesdayites out there, and well done to
I thought
Danny
you was
Roll.
on about well, obviously,
no, everything with the season, the podcast.
Listen, for us to be in that position we were in, and to get out of it, we're what, 12 points behind in December.
Yeah, you were.
Really, and to get out of it was incredible, absolutely incredible.
And again, it just shows what you can do with a good manager.
Yep.
And things off the pitch. I've always said this: you can have things going on off the pitch, and it doesn't have to affect things that go on onto the pitch. And I think Sheffield Wednesday are a prime example of a manager that seems to be a sandwich short of a picnic, but a manager that's up there with the very best in the Championship.
Yeah, it's been a terrific season it's been a terrific season considering the position we was in.
Absolutely.
And to find a manager with that quality, it's more. It's you're looking forward to seeing what he can do with having a full season.
Absolutely, and let's hope that he's got a little bit of money that he can go and spend on a few players, because he can't keep going to that same well and getting the same out of those players, because at times they look as though they've got some decent. I mean, I don't know too much about the Wednesday team, but that Pervader who you got on loan from Leeds United, he looks some player. There was a couple of players that caught my eye occasionally when I watched Sheffield. So they do look as though they've got a little bit about them in the squad. But in terms of like Barry Bannon and one or two other players, they seem to be at the wrong end of their career. So I think a little bit of youth and vibrancy is needed. Certainly a few more legs in that midfield area.
Yeah, we'll just hope that he gives it some money.
Yep.
Or whoever buys the players, gets the players that Roll's asking for. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And what they need is a young Terry Curran. If you could turn back that clock, TC.
Oh my God. Wouldn't that be exciting?
It would, especially for you, because you went back to Wednesday to take them into the Championship.
And nearly did it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not to take them into the old First Division.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course it was.
Lucky.
Yeah, so, yeah. TC, it's been an absolute joy, sir. We will reconvene again in August for the Curran View next season. And have a great summer. And we will do a little bit during the Euros. I'm sure we will do. We'll have a chat and put a couple of podcasts together, and we'll see how Chris is doing.
Brilliant. Look to you and yours, and look forward to seeing you all next year, and let's hope England win the Euros.
Absolutely, and thanks for listening, guys. It's been an absolute blast. Cheers, T.
Cheers, Gabs.
Cheers, mate. Ta-ra a bit. Bye-bye, bye-bye. Bye-bye.